Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay, back here again on the MLW Rewind after tonight's amazing episode of MLW Underground, which you can catch exclusively on Reels. If you don't have Reels, just wait patiently. There are a lot of distribution deals in place. And as you know, I never do this alone. Here with me is Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky himself, Uncle Bobby B. Bobby!
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You?
I've had better days.
I got you. I feel you. 150%. I did too. Listen, I babysit glorified adult males for a living, okay? Being a truck dispatcher sucks balls.
Well, I just had like my car broken into more or less while my band was playing on Friday night.
Yeah.
So like some skis ball while we were up on stage, went out to the parking lot, and also smashed my guitar player's car window. So that kind of put a damper on my weekend, and then this week's not been going good either. But you know what? Let's talk about some wrestling, because a couple other people didn't have a great day this week.
Absolutely not. First bit of breaking news is that officially announced on the weekend, Real One and MLW Kaputski. Dunzo finished Tabito. So the next couple of tapings that we're going to see will most likely be his last. They have not come to an agreement. He went to kind of online to explain things. Fact is, he's difficult to work with. Plain and simple. He was very involved in one of the major storylines. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure, 100% creative differences. He says one side, MLW says the other. We're not going to get into the drama of that. The fact is, we just report things MLW related, and Real One is no more.
What did he say? I'm curious because I haven't seen it.
Well, he pretty much said that, he was done, but he was thinking about returning, but the way they've handled things, yada, yada, yada. Fact is that MLW made him relevant again. And for whatever reason, that relationship's now tarnished.
Honestly, it's kind of a shame because I said it like a week or maybe even two ago. Like, never really have been a fan, but he's kind of won me over the last few weeks with his work. I really enjoyed it. I thought he had improved a lot and matured a lot in terms of his. I'm not talking personally. I'm talking about like his work. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But I understand. If we're not seeing him anywhere else, then it sucks for him. But I'm sure MLW, it's not like the biggest loss.
No, especially
they have a pretty stacked roster.
Yeah, I was gonna say the talent that they've acquired. They're always good at, like you said, evolving the roster as they go. Whenever they lose somebody that's in their top tier in a huge storyline, they find ways to work them out and work somebody else right in their place. So we saw that with EJ and Duca. He didn't resign. We saw that with other people that have come and gone. Short-term contracts. That's what MLW is. It's more of a short-term thing. It's never a long-term thing unless you are either Alex Hammerstone or Jacob Fatu, one of the pillars of the organization.
Yeah, like I think they have deals with people, but it's not like compared to a deal at some other places.
No.
I think there's a few that are like contractually linked, and then other ones are kind of a pay as you work deal. But like the main, like you said, the Hammers, the Fatus, the big ones are locked down with MLW.
Absolutely, of course. And if they weren't, that would be a huge problem for Court Power. That would be a bigger loss than anybody else on the roster. That's 150% for sure. All right. So speaking of Real One, he opens the show tonight. He cuts a promo. And it is announced that next week we will see the first ever Fatal 4-Way dumpster match in MLW. Not done anywhere else, but exclusively in MLW. This will be the first time. And the Fatal 4-Way would include SCG members, or SGC members, my apologies, Second Gear Crew members, Mance Warner, Matt Justice, and I guess unofficial fourth member being Microman. Not really sure, but it'll be the three of them versus Real One. Now, they're all supposed to be versing each other, but it's just going to be a 3-on-1 assault. And most likely Real One is going to end up in that dumpster. I mean, that's the way I see it going. And I'm sure that'll be the way to write him off TV. Throw him out like yesterday's trash, honest opinion. But it is promo. He did cut some pretty good one-liners. One being MLW is on TV because of him. And if he had a dime for every time Microman rode a roller coaster, he'd have no dimes. That's right, no dimes. Because Microman cannot ride roller coasters because of the height restrictions. And Microman has been running his mouth, and so is Mance Warner. Well, at that point, Mance Warner has had enough, and he comes out, but he doesn't come out alone. No. He comes out with a chainsaw, looking very leather faces, if I must say so myself. He comes out with a chainsaw. He's got Enzo running to one side of the ring. Enzo thinks he's got an escape plan. No, think again. Matt Justice is out with a garbage can full of goodies, and a chair. So he's chasing down Real One on one side of the ring. Mance and the Chainsaw are on the other side of the ring. Real One kind of sidesteps the dumpster that was placed in the aisle to introduce the dumpster match that is happening next week. And he goes for the garbage can full of goodies. He goes for the kendo stick, and the kendo stick is attached to Microman. That's right. Microman pops up from the garbage can, and Enzo is running scared. They chase him off, and then the three gentlemen celebrate at the top of the ramp with some ice cold beers. Microman finally getting pulled out of the garbage can by Matt and Mance to be placed on a chair, almost like a trophy, if you will. And it was nice to see. It was really nice to see. This was by far the most entertaining way to introduce a match that I've seen in MLW, and I'm looking forward to it because they've introduced some matches and they've been god awful. We all remember the Barclay Brawl. I'll never forget how bad that one was. But this dumpster match does intrigue me, and it's going to be good. And you got a lot of hardcore guys that are involved in the process now, so we're starting to see a lot more of that hardcore feel in the underground, which I do enjoy. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the intro. So Rob, your thoughts on the intro before we move on to the first match on tonight's card?
Pretty much exactly what you're saying. I'm in agreement with. It was an okay segment. It's set up, you know, what's to come. Second Gear Crew is new in MLW, so this will give them a chance for kind of everybody to get their shit in. And yeah, it'll be a 4-way dumpster match. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we're going to find out.
Well, it's most likely going to be a handicap match because it is going to be 3-on-1. Unless Real One does what he said he was going to do, and he's going to Simba Microman all the way into that dumpster, lift him high, and then drop him down low, quote unquote, from the quotable one. And I do like the fact how he does the whole spiel that he used to do in WWE, but he changed it up a bit where he's like, "My name is one everybody knows." I do like that.
He has to, because I think he probably doesn't own
Enzo Amore, but I mean, he still spells Enzo, but a different way. He spells it N-Z-O, where they spelled it E-N-Z-O. So, I mean, technically there is ways to get around it.
But I think he also wants to. I could be mistaken, but I think trademark law or copyright law can be sketchy, or it can be a little, like, even if you're spelling it different.
Yeah, there's a subcategory in there about parody where you can get away with things if it's a parody, like you know, like some movies do, like for example, Scary Movie, when they make fun of everything in the horror related copyright stuff, like Ghostface and stuff, they get away with it by
but there's that, like I said, and you know what, you don't want to anger the legal team at WWE, because we know they're not adverse to sending a cease and desist to someone, and like, if you're building up a character now and then you suddenly have to drop and change it because you got that stalls your momentum and stuff like that. So I understand playing it safe when it comes to potentially violating trademarks.
Yeah, especially with the fact that WWE and MLW are no strangers to legal battles. There's no need to fight one that doesn't need to be fought, and this is one that does not need to be fought.
Yeah,
I agree with you. All right, so the first match in the card was the one called Manders versus Ricky Shane Page in a hardcore match. Now, this is where it gets confusing for me because Joe Dombrowski still calling the Hive a couple times. So I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure. And
they're the calling.
I know
but
that
they are a hive. So they're I think he's just using hive as like an adjective and not really.
Right, but when he says these members of the Hive, it's confusing to people who don't understand it like we do, and they may be thinking like what I'm thinking. Well, are they the Hive or are they the calling? Which one is it? Pick a name, stick to it. I get they're the calling, but the way it's being presented is a little confusing to the viewer. It is.
I agree.
It is confusing. So for me, okay, so the calling. They are officially the calling. I will stop. They're a calling, but they're a Hive in the calling. Sure. Whatever. All right, let's move on from that. So right off the bat, Ricky Shane Page, he grabs a nail from that table of weapons that the calling always brings out, and he always seems to go for the nail. No one's ever gone for the lawn weed thing, and I do want that to be used. I keep hoping. And they don't.
Weed whacker?
No, remember there was that thing that would pull out weeds? We talked about it.
That thing. Yeah, I couldn't remember the bloody name of it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it either, but it was on the table again. I was hoping, oh man, Ricky's going to go for it. No, he went for the nail. I get it, Ricky. You like the 9-inch nails. I totally get it. Let's switch it up a little bit. There may be weeds in the ring. You may need to help somebody pull them out, man. Come on, bro. That's all I'm saying. Just once for me, Ricky. Come on. So anyways, he grabs a weapon from the table and the match kind of inadvertently starts. I will say this, Manders, a couple great spots in this match. Manders really showed me a little bit of grit and tenacity. I loved it. He was the first one to bleed, But what was impressive as hell is that Manders is not a small boy. Ricky Shane Page also not a small boy. But when Ricky Shane Page can throw you around the ring like you're a ragdoll or a lucha libre wrestler, that's crazy. Ricky launched Manders across the ring about twice. Now, Manders did get his stuff in too. He got his shit in as well. How about the spine buster on a emptied out bag full of tacks? That was freaking beautiful. And Ricky got all of that. One side of his back, yeah, all tacked up. So shout out to Manders on that one because that was damn near impressive. And Manders with the Crimson Mask was weird. It seemed like the Crimson Mask bled new life into him. Ha! Pun definitely meant to be used. Bled new life into him. And he got some stuff in the match, which was pretty damn impressive. But the ending. Let's talk ending, okay? We've seen people go through tables. We've seen people be thrown into a table. We've seen people be thrown off of a ring onto a table. But never has someone tried to slide under the table to get away from someone and then have them crash through the table.
Sent onto the fucking table.
Yeah, through the table onto Manders. So just to add clarification here, spoilers ahead, Manders was sliding under the table to try to get away from Ricky Shane Page, who was perched on the second rope. And Ricky didn't waste any time, and he jumped right through the table onto Manders for the 1, 2, 3. And I marked out, I'd never seen somebody go through it or a table be used in that way in a match. Somebody goes through a table, it's fucking cool. But to actually have one person go through the table onto the other person underneath it, that's fucking cool. Like, that was innovative as fuck, especially in the ECW arena. That's innovative as hell.
Yeah, I was just a little concerned, like looking at it, because table's gonna split like this, and I was just like, oh, you're getting jagged table end driven into you, but didn't seem to be any issues.
No, it was good. I think the positioning of Manders was good, where he was kind of under the one flap and away from the other. So when the table did broke, Ricky took a blunt of that hit for sure. One thing I did forget to mention before I get Rob's thoughts on the match and my own thoughts on the match, the calling was all out there in full force. And Raven cutting an inaudible promo with the ring announcers on commentary was beautiful on Matt Striker's part. Shout out to Matt Striker. As soon as Raven started talking, he knew that it was inaudible. So what did Matt Striker do? He turned the mic of his headset towards Raven so we can make out a little bit. Fact is, Raven's been on his own for a while and he feels reborn. And now there's like-minded individuals just like him who just want to watch the world burn. And I thought Matt Striker and Joe Dombrowski on commentary in this episode, they reached new heights. It was absolutely fantastic. The commentary kept me fully engaged throughout it, and their chemistry is top notch. I do miss Rich. Shout out to Rich. We miss you, buddy. But Matt Striker, Joe Dombrowski, that shit hits different, and it hits so fucking good. Matt Striker is so underrated on commentary. So to anyone that doesn't give that man love, show some respect. Because Matt Striker, I'm on commentary, and it's not easy to do. Yeah, okay, maybe an underground, indie promotion, but it's still hard to fucking do to carry a storyline through and through. Commentators is a thankless job. Those guys take all the shit and get none of the credit. So shout out to
those guys. And I think before with Rich and Joe, they were just kind of neutral commentators, where here you have Striker as more of a defined heel kind of commentator, and it gives a different dimension. It's more of a Bobby Gorilla thing with Joe and Matt. So I'm enjoying that. And as far as the match went, yeah, like Ricky doesn't do death matches anymore, but a hardcore match is not a death match. And a spine buster onto taxes, Ricky was probably like, yeah, okay, I've done that before. It was a fun match to watch, though. They beat the hell out of each other. That Ricky doing like a swanton, crazy for a guy his size. Just unreal match.
I forgot to mention Manders putting Ricky through a door. How about that? Yeah. He also put Ricky through a door with his finisher. I think it's after the football team, he was on the Iowa Hawk something or others. But it's Hawkeyes. A cool ass, Hawkeye, something like that. It was a cool ass finisher, and Ricky kicked out of it though. But shout out to both those guys, man. Manders, seeing him in the ring at MLW, the guy's impressive. I saw him at Demand Lucha, and maybe it's because who he was in the ring with. The match was subpar, but this match, it was awesome. Not because it was a hardcore match, just because it's two big boys going at it. And shout out to Manders, man, because he almost had Ricky Shane Page. He really did.
Yeah, and I think Manders actually worked the GCW Toronto show that was here recently. But yeah, it was a great match. The crowd really was into it, which is the biggest, like the most important thing you could ask for as a wrestler. Is the crowd was into it. That's what you're there to do.
Yeah, you want noise. You want to hear that noise for sure.
Yeah, they were enjoying it.
Absolutely. And at the end of the match, Raven gave Joe Dombrowski a calling card. Joe did not like it. He tried to give it to Matt. Matt's like, no, I used to be a wrestler. I will beat you up. Don't throw that card anywhere near me. And at the same time, Ricochet and Page tried to shove a card down a beaten Mander's mouth, but Manders had none of it. He popped up and he was beating everybody in the ring to the point where they were literally exchanging shots all the way back to the ramp to the back of the building. So Manders, even though he took the loss, he went out fighting and he did not take the calling card to the mouth like most people do. No. He took the fight to the calling and he survived. So shout out to Manders, because if anything, that's got to be in their heads now. The fact that they weren't able to keep him down. He shot back up and he was defiant as hell. So shout out to Manders on that. I really enjoyed this match. I really did. But at the end, when Ricky went through the table, did you notice Raven and Akira laughing hysterically, crying tears of joy almost? That was so sadistic. It made my skin crawl. I fucking loved it. I really did. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And we also got this announcement right here, that next week we will have the first ever no ropes catch wrestling match in MLW. That's right, Davey Boy Smith, Alex Kane, part 2. We knew the storyline was not going to end the way it ended, and that's going to be happening next week. Rob, any predictions on this match, considering catch wrestling is more Davey's expertise, but Alex Kane is so well-rounded that he's also dangerous as well?
Well, as far as I know, you can still suplex somebody in catch wrestling.
You absolutely can.
So I mean, yeah, Davey Boy's a wrestler, but so is Alex. Like Alex knows how to wrestle. He knows how to wrestle technically. He's got that huge arsenal of suplexes, of supleys. So so you know, it might seem like the match is maybe skewed towards Davey, but in reality, I think it's a little more even match than people are going to realize.
That's a good.
It's a fascinating concept. We're going no ropes. We're going catch wrestling. I wonder if they're going to score it, or it's going to still be on a 1-2-3 pinfall or a 2 count, because in amateur wrestling it's a 2 count.
We'll have to wait to see for next week. But next week's got that. Next week's got the dumpster match, and literally a week after that, we got War Games. War Games in 2 weeks. Great stuff already happening for next week's episode. And don't forget, Battle Riot is literally around the corner as well. They'll be filming and probably dropping that for us sometime in September, October. Hopefully we get it a little bit earlier so Rob and I can salivate at the joyousness that is Battle Riot 5. But anyways, continuing on, we get another interpromotional match. That's right. The Dragongate Open the Twin Gate Champions. That is their tag team champions. That is Natural Vibes. These guys were awesome. And they were facing FBI. That's Little Guido and Ray Jazz. This Ray Jazz guy, every time I see him, he impresses the hell out of me. But Little Guido, he can still go. But man, this match was way more entertaining than I guess I expected it to be. Little Guido getting his work in, getting a couple of the old school stuff, still looking strong. Ray Jazz did definitely have to take a lot of the punishment and save Guido a few times, but that's just Little Guido's shtick. He's just a guy that always needs to be saved. What I did enjoy was that double tag team tandem maneuver, if you saw it, where they both gave each other the Italian kisses. Then they grabbed the hands like Rocky, and then they dropped the double elbows. I did enjoy that. I thought it was pretty cool. All in all, great match, very entertaining. Natural Vibes, very strong team. Really enjoyed the work. And a couple quotables for this one is the fact that Natural Vibes, they caught Jazz off the top. So he was coming off the top with a choke slam. They caught him, dropped him into a frog splash, which was a great for the 1-2-3, and they retained the Twin Gate, Open the Twin Gate Championships. So they retained those. So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed this match. It was about 10 minutes. It was very entertaining, and I'm digging this Natural Vibes. Apparently that is a faction, a staple, if you will, over there in Dragon Gate, and I really enjoyed seeing them. And
Kizzy's thing is like he legit raps, like he's a fan of rap and he likes to rap, so that's part of he works it into his gimmick. Like I hate doing stuff like this, but like consider them like the Japanese version of the Acclaimed, you know what I mean, like, in that they rap their own stuff kind of thing. So you had Big Boss Shimizu and Kizzy, and yeah, it was okay. I wasn't like super into it, but like you said, Ray Jazz really impresses. I mean, I don't think I've been that like impressed by I think he's about 27.
He's 27.
Yeah, NCAA collegiate athlete, all that stuff. So he's clearly got the chops, but he looks like a natural in there. It wouldn't surprise me if he's, within a few years, some of the big boys come calling. He looks like he's been doing it a lot longer than he has. Really enjoy watching this guy work, and he's a shoot Italian, and I'm also Italian, so kind of appreciate the the, the FBI. I appreciate that. Oh,
I'm 1/15th Italian, and I don't recognize it at all. So moving on. We get a promo from the calling. Second gear crew. None of you are ready. Raven is a savior, and he wants protection from you and your stench. That's right. Trust in Raven. I thought that was great. The fact that he wants protection, but also the fact that they stink, that makes a lot of sense. I could see the SGC stinking a little bit, a couple nights in
Yeah.
a bar, smelling a booze. Absolutely. 100%. The boys, they like to drink. And I'm glad to see that they did not get caught from breaking into that bar the last episode, kind of having those free beers. I'm glad to
No
see
kidding.
that worked out. Absolutely. We also, the next segment we get is Sam. Sam Laterna is there, and she's with Boomaye, and they are picking their numbers for Battle Riot. And she spins the I don't know, what do you call it, a bingo wheel, if you will, that gold thing. Tumbler? Is it a tumbler? Is that what it's called?
Tumbler, correct.
Yeah, she
It's a
spins
tumbler.
a tumbler. Alex Kane reaches in. Mr. Thomas reaches in. Thomas is pretty happy. Kane is not. Sam asks him, any comment? And Alex looks at her right away and says, man, you were being nosy. Sam rebuttals. Give her credit on this one. She
That's
rebuttals
my
and says,
job.
my job. And she's right. Alex is her job. She's got to ask the questions because we, the fans, need answers. But obviously, we won't find out Alex Kane or Mr. Thomas's numbers. But their facial expressions mean that Kane got a relatively early entry and Thomas got a later entry. I would assume that to be the case.
And let's just quickly just want to touch on Sam Lanterna there. She has a hard act to follow because she's essentially taken the role that Alicia Toot previously held as a backstage correspondent and doing other things, which is Alicia's a top tier talent. That's a hard act to follow. Sam has been doing a damn good job.
Absolutely.
I liked how she fired back like that's my job. She actually I laughed at the way she said it, like it made me chuckle. So she's doing a fantastic job there. The Boomaye boys, Alex did not look super excited, but you know what? If there's anybody who can last, I think Alex has a good chance.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. And I don't
He
know.
might have been he might have been swerving us all. He might be like one of the later entries and he just wanted to, you know, psych people out.
Well, there is a segment that happened at the end of the show to means that he might have maybe stolen a number from someone or switched a number from someone. We'll get to that as we get to the end of the episode. But I don't know if we announced this last week. If we haven't, Alicia Altoot and MLW parted ways. She is officially a free agent. I think we did announce that last week.
Yeah, I think we touched on it.
But just to reiterate it again, so we wish her the best of luck in her endeavors. And we hope that her and MLW can, come to terms in the future because MLW, when you leave on good terms, the door is always open. Even when you leave on bad terms, the door is always open. So MLW is pretty good that way. They don't really hold grudges like most other companies do. So it'd be nice to see her come back to MLW because I think there's still a little bit more story to tell, especially with the Clout couple, for sure. And we know that Richard will be hopefully making his way back to the MLW ring very, very soon. Now we get to our main event. That's right. It is the middleweight title on the line. It's Delerious versus the champ, Lince Darado. And right after Delerious comes to the ring, we are interrupted by the bad child, Leo Rush. Comes out, pulls a microphone from his pocket, which is pretty cool because they didn't get any of the static in the microphone when they pulled it out of the pocket. So it was really cool. Very good audio work on that today. I will say that. Very good audio work. And I'm a big fan of audio work these days because, I know about echoes and I know what they can do. So I'm a big fan of audios. Big fan of audio. So, yeah, what? I had to make a joke. Come on, relax. Like, pull the stick out of your ass, will you? So he came out to advise that he is the greatest middleweight champ of all time. And I was going to join the commentary team to watch this match a little more closely, because he wants to study Delerious and the champ, Lince Darado. Lince Darado rolls out, and him and Leo exchanging a few words at the commentary table. We go to break. We come back from break. They're still talking. And at that point, Lince is so distracted that Delerious, well, he took advantage of the distraction, but Lince, eventually he gets things back on the right turf. Now, the best part of this whole thing was Leo was on commentary. Lince Darado had Delerious on the ring apron, about to go for an apron bomb, and Leo stands up and starts yelling at Lince to maybe stretch out. This is a match you want to stretch out, Lince. Want to stretch out, therefore causing another distraction. And Lince Darado got the, he turned it around, got the counter, and Lince was on the wrong side of that. A couple cool spots in this moment, though, in this match. My apologies. Kicking out of Delirious's finisher, Death from the Skies. Not a lot of people have kicked out of that, so the fact that Lince kicked out of that says something. We also got a sweet crossbody to the floor from Lince on Delerious, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the power bomb from Lince, which you don't really see that kind of power from him. But again, he doesn't really face a lot of guys that he can do that. But Delerious is a little bit more on the tall, lanky side. So there's not a lot of weight there. And then he goes to the top for the shooting star press, which was absolutely picture perfect. And he wins and retains. Leo wants to congratulate Lince. So he walks in the ring with the belt, hands it to Lince, but he won't really let it go. He's kind of keeping it. A little bit of words exchange. Lince finally gets the belt back, turns his back to, raise his title to the crowd, and he's attacked by the bad child. And then Leo steals the belt, took it from him, just walked out like it's his property. Not cool, man. Not cool. And then the commentary table announces that there is some commotion in the back. And it's Bumaye. They are attacking Thomas Billington, and they knock out his teeth. Pool of blood. Very cool, special effects right there. Davey Boy Smith Jr., though, coming to the rescue of Thomas Billington as the Bumaye Fight Club scurries away. And there will be hell to pay next week for that catch wrestling match. That's for sure. That was definitely a message sent to Davey to get into his head, take him off his game. Rob, what do you think about the main event tonight? About Leo Rush and about the Bumaye Fight Club attack at the end of it all?
I'm stoked for Leo Rush to come back, but I will be honest, the commentary, he seemed a little off his game. He was trying to hunt down words. He didn't seem to have his usual charisma and swagger. He just seemed a little off, and I feel like just he was kind of overshadowing the actual match that was going on with him on commentary. So I wasn't really feel like we've seen a lot of guys on commentary in recent weeks, Enzo, Hammer, Fatu, whoever, but I don't know. I just felt like Leo wasn't on his game today, but it leads up to the eventual clash between the two, obviously. And I'll tell you, it wouldn't surprise me if Leo is victorious here and becomes a 3-time.
I don't see that not happening. And that's a fair assessment to say. I'm pretty sure that Leo will eventually take the title. But the mind games are cool. Taking the title and running for the skies. Got to see how that builds. But all in all, I thought this episode was pretty solid. There was entertaining. It moved quite swimmingly. There was really no issues other than Leo Rush's commentary, like you mentioned, which was a little bit on the weaker side. Also, the fact of blatantly insulting Lucha Libre and its heritage, and then backtracking on it, saying, well, I didn't really, but that, listen, if you're going to take a stance on something, take a stance.
That's
own it.
That's kind of the stuff I'm talking about. Like just his overall mic work on that whole thing on commentary just wasn't great. And it's like, I know he can do better. So that's why I say it.
The promo wasn't 100% either. The promo was, it was subpar all around.
Yeah, he's better than that, and I know he's better than that, so that's why I say like he sounded off, because he just didn't sound like it himself. Normally he's a little more glib.
Absolutely, we've had off days. Everybody has their off days. That's okay. The fact
I'm having one today.
Exactly. It seems like you're always having one when we record.
Yeah, and you know what? Tuesdays tend to be like my worst day of the week for like my shoot job. So it's just it's bad timing.
Bad timing. Bad timing. Well, speaking of bad timing, we're all out of time for today. That's it. That's the end of this one. As always, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. This one was short, sweet, simple, to the point. I like that. It was kind of flowing. Didn't really have a whole lot of banter. This audio is echo-free and brought to you by SNME. As always, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. This is the pain in the ass Uncle Bobby B.
Yeah, I'm Uncle Krusty B.
Uncle fucking baby bitch B. I tell you, fuck Jesus Christ. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you guys next time.
Adios.